Hey everyone, Malcolm Owen-Flood here. I wanted to make a very quick video for all of my fellow Pro Tools users out there, particularly anybody who has made the recent update to 2023.3 or 6, aka anyone that's tried to go to the full M1 native silicon version of Pro Tools. Because there's still a lot of confusion on how to get all of your plugins working inside of Pro Tools on these new versions. I still see it in the forums, people freaking out that their plugins are gone and yada, yada, yada. So just wanted to demystify that a little bit, and I think this will help. So the first thing to note is that this is kind of covered in one of my previous videos, so you may have already seen that, but I wanted to actually show you how to do this in a video because I don't think I actually did that. And we'll run through it together. I'll show you my screen and we'll just go through how to run it with your plugins or without, and I'll kind of explain what that means as we go. So first off, the thing we need to understand is that if your plugins are missing, it's not Pro Tools' fault necessarily. It is more so likely that the manufacturer of the plugins you're trying to use has not released a modern M1 native AAX version of their plugin. So it's the plugin manufacturer that's behind. Now keep in mind, you might just need to go update. So you can just do a quick Google, find the new versions of your plugins and do an update, and then you should be good to go. But there's still some companies that are yet to release compatible versions. So for me, for example, I could say that Plugin Alliance still has a bunch of plugins that I don't really think I could work without. I mean, I could, but I don't want to work without, and they're still not compatible. Neural DSP, I think, has a couple. Actually, you know what? I think they might have just released a version for the amp sim that I really like to use. So it's coming together, but there's still a couple. And without those plugins available to me in M1 native AAX, I cannot work, essentially. And what I mean by that is that it's not worth it for me to use that version of Pro Tools, the newest M1 running version of Pro Tools, because I don't have access to those tools anymore. But that doesn't mean you can't still run the newest version of Pro Tools. You just have to run it using Rosetta. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do right now. Don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying this, by the way. Everyone helps, and yeah, appreciate all the love. Thank you. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is go to your application folder, find Pro Tools, and you actually want to go to the folder, not into your launch, because what you're going to do is right-click it and go Get Info or Command-I. That brings up this little display here, and you can see this box right here. I've got it checked, and it says Open using Rosetta. And that is the key here. If that is not checked, which it will probably default to when you first update and download the new version of Pro Tools, it is going to run the M1 native version of Pro Tools. And that means that any plugins you have that are not compatible with that new version of Pro Tools, with AAX M1 native, you are going to not be able to use them. Whereas if you click this box, now it's backwards compatible, but you are losing out on some of the M1 native performance enhancements as well. So it's a little bit of a catch. Like if you want the fastest version of Pro Tools, leave that checked off. If you can bear with a slightly slowed down version and not maybe utilizing all of your computer's available power, but you want all your plugins, you're just going to click that and leave it checked. The good thing is that M1 computers are so fast. Like they're really awesome. And even with this checked, I still think my computer is a beast. I am excited to leave this unchecked once a few more plugins are up to date, but for now they're not. So when we click that, we've got Open using Rosetta. We'll launch Pro Tools here. And I'm going to show you what happens when you open a session without it and with it. Actually, let's do that first. I'm going to uncheck this box. So now it's going to try and run the M1 native version of Pro Tools. And once the Pro Tools display comes up here, you'll see that it won't say Rosetta anywhere on it. All right, so you can see it doesn't say Rosetta anywhere down here. I think right here it would normally say opening using Rosetta if we had that box checked, which you'll see when we go through that example. But for now, we just launched it without. Let's just open up this session here. And it's going to do its normal thing, scan plugins, all of that, put the session together. But it will give us a little display saying, hey, I don't have these plugins available. The ones that are in this session, they are not available to me running this version of Pro Tools. So I'll show you that box once it pops up. Okay, so here we go. This is our folder that I was talking about that shows our missing plugins. So it says the following plugins were made inactive because they are either missing from the plugins folder or are not a universal binary and require Pro Tools to be opened with Rosetta. So when they are not a universal binary, that is essentially saying, yeah, they're not compatible with this new version of Pro Tools. You need to update them or use something else. And as you can see, there's a lot of plugins I used in this mix that are not available to me. So again, like that Plugin Alliance, Townhouse, Vertigo, Shadow Hills, those are all from them. A couple other ones, a lot of Wave stuff that I'm just going to leave behind, I think. There's quite a bit of stuff that I can't use anymore unless I either go buy an update or wait for the update to come around. So the session will open up and there's just a bunch of grayed out plugins where something would have been live before, like the fuzz. This is a fuzz pedal plugin that I used on this song. It's just totally gone. It's just, it says inactive, but it doesn't exist actually, which I wish it said something. I wish it said just not compatible or something there, so you knew the difference inside of the session, but it did tell us earlier. But if I try and make it active, it just says it's not present. Essentially, this mix does not open when I'm not using Rosetta at this point because I don't have all the available plugins. A little bit of a bummer, but let's now go and do the opposite and get this session working again. You have to fully quit Pro Tools. Don't need to save. And we're going back to our little info panel here, open using Rosetta, and then we'll just run Pro Tools. I don't know if anybody else has like the slowest boot up times ever with Pro Tools, but it drives me nuts. It's so slow. All right, here we go. It says opened using Rosetta. So keep an eye out around here when you're launching Pro Tools to make sure you're running the right version every time. We're opening up the same session as last time, but using Rosetta now, and we should see that all of those plugins that didn't work last time will work this time. Okay, so now we can look at that plugin folder again. And okay, it looks like I lied to you. Apparently I don't own the fuzz anymore. I don't know what happened there, but a much smaller list as you can see. And I can confirm that this and Virtual Mix Rack, like those three other than the fuzz I knew aren't in there anymore. I just need to go clean up these sessions. I thought I had the fuzz, but apparently not. So this mix will work essentially. It's all there, and I know this because I've been working this way for months now with using Rosetta to run this latest version of Pro Tools. Well, I guess not months because this is a very new version of Pro Tools, but you know what I mean. And it works. So if you were one of those people that thought you had just lost all your plugins and that updating your version of Pro Tools was a huge disaster and a mistake, it's probably not as big of a deal as you thought. You just got to go click that one button, open using Rosetta, and you should be good to go. Yeah, that's it for now. I just want to tell you one quick thing. If you want a free mixing workshop on how to get better mixes using the plugins and tools you already own, don't have to buy anything extra, go check out the link down below for the Standout Mixes workshop taught by my podcast co-host at the self-recording band, Benedict Hine. It's a free resource. Everybody's loved it that's taken it. Nothing but good feedback and no strings attached. Just go check it out. It's free down in the description of this video. And don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.